This is KGW News at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Brittany Falkers. As Sunday nears its end here in the Pacific Northwest, a new day is just beginning in Ukraine. And we want to start tonight with some key developments. The United Nations says at least 364 Ukrainians have died since the Russian invasion began. At least 759 others have been injured, but experts believe both of those numbers are considerably higher. It comes as another ceasefire attempt failed, while civilians were expected to be evacuated from at least one city. Hundreds of thousands trying to flee were forced to shelter from Russian shelling that pummeled cities in Ukraine's center, north, and south. Another round of peace talks are set to begin Monday. The refugee crisis in Eastern Europe is growing. The UN today called it the fastest growing refugee crisis since World War II. According to the UN, in just 11 days, at least 1.5 million refugees from Ukraine have sought safety in neighboring countries.
We decided to stay here, invest, and try to help another people. And we don't want to leave our country.
As key cities in this country were encircled by Russian troops early Monday, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky criticized world leaders for what he called silence over Russia's announced plan to open the week with a new offensive. And the crisis in Ukraine is really difficult to fully grasp for many of us back here in the U.S. So we went to a local professor who knows the country well. Alexandra Herzog is a professor at Reed College and has strong connections to Ukraine. Her Ukrainian-speaking family was forced from Eastern Europe during World War II, and she's studied Ukraine society extensively. She says, while still shocking, what's happening is not a surprise. She says it's been building for a long time. Herzog says besides the destruction and loss of life, Russia is also trying to damage Ukraine's open, inclusive, and democratic society.
Russia has actually systematically destroyed its own civil society. And so we actually have an idea of what it will look like in Ukraine when we look at neighboring Russia and we see what has happened to venerable human rights organizations.
Herzog says Ukrainians are proving Putin's ways are not welcome. And the U.S. is in talks with European allies about banning imports of Russian oil, which would likely push gas prices even higher. The crisis in Ukraine has already had an impact. For a second day in a row, local gas prices are breaking records, and we know a lot of you are feeling that extra cost. Our Galen Etland shares the outlook for us here and the rest of the world.
A new price got posted at this downtown Portland gas station Sunday afternoon, more than $5 a gallon.
It's stressful, it keeps going up.
Lupita Diaz is feeling the strain.
We have to get our kids to practices, and all that stuff.
AAA says Oregon's Sunday average was about $4.47 for a gallon of regular. Portland and Vancouver hit their record for a second day in a row, reaching about $4.50.
We can't get a break.
It's a bummer.
Gretchen Murray has to commute for work.
Unfortunately, I'm going to pay for gas no matter what price it is.
Definitely sticker shock.
Wesley Clarios felt lucky he got gas right before the attendant posted the new, even higher price.
I feel like they're just going to keep going up and up, especially with, Ukraine and everything going on right now.
The world's top 3 oil producers are the U.S., Saudi Arabia, and Russia, which produces 11% of the global supply. More than half the cost of gasoline comes from that crude oil. So as the world shuts off Russia during war in Ukraine, Marie Dodds with AAA says the market is reacting.
Markets don't like the unknown. They don't like the uncertainty. The U.S. and its allies have imposed severe sanctions on Russia.
Russia could withhold crude oil from the already tight global markets.
I'm afraid to see what's going to happen.
In that uncertainty, the national U.S. average for regular gas topped $4 a gallon this weekend, the highest since 2008. But other countries have much higher prices because of higher taxes. Most of Europe, for instance, pays more than $7 a gallon, and people in Hong Kong pay more than $10. But AAA says saving money on gas is universal.
Taking stuff out of your car, combining trips, driving less. If you have more than one vehicle in the home, use the vehicle that gets the best gas mileage for those trips.
And maybe we can get with families and carpool the kids to school.
There's not much we can do. I'm just going to hang tight, sit back, and stay home.
AAA expects prices to climb into the summer typically, so we could see even more increases ahead. It does hope, though, that prices can come down the second half of the year, but a lot hinges on that market uncertainty and conflict with Russia. Galen Etlin, KGW News.
We're following some developing news tonight out of southern Oregon. Fire officials near Rogue River say a police officer shot a person near I-5. The details are really scarce right now. So what is known is that officials say there were several car crashes spread out over several miles because of this, and the interstate was shut down in all directions between mile marker 48 and 55 for more than an hour. We will continue to follow this for you, and you can find the latest updates overnight online at KGW.com. An Oregon state trooper is under investigation and facing a civil lawsuit after claims the drug cop underreported stops and targeted minorities. Here's Kyle Aboshi.
From drug busts to saving puppies, Oregon State Police celebrated the work of Trooper Travis Peterson, his accomplishments posted on social media. But now this drug cop from Southern Oregon is attracting attention for another reason: allegations of misconduct.
Travis Peterson has been racially profiling on Interstate 5 and throughout the roads of Jackson County for years.
Later this week, attorney Justin Rosas plans to file a class action lawsuit against Oregon State Police and Trooper Peterson on behalf of 8 men who believe they were wrongly detained while driving through Southern Oregon.
And part of this lawsuit is trying to look out for all of the over-policing of people who are just trying to move along. And people of color predominantly, right, who are just trying to move along.
A review of press releases and social media posts suggest over the past few years, Trooper Peterson and his K-9 have made numerous drug busts along Interstate 5 near Medford, seizing cash, cocaine, heroin, and meth. But court records indicate many of those cases were later dismissed because the trooper allegedly conducted unlawful searches. And there were other problems. A memo from the Jackson County District Attorney shows Peterson failed to document hundreds of traffic stops. He didn't record some canine deployment, which impacts a dog's accuracy rating, and some evidence went missing.
He did hide his stops evidence. He did hide his canine stops. They do continue to employ him.
The attorney claims Trooper Peterson frequently stopped vehicles with out-of-state plates, where drivers looked like they were not from the area. In a tort claim notice, the lawyer said blatantly he targeted minorities. Peterson could not be reached for comment. He's currently on protected leave for unrelated reasons. In a statement, state police said OSP takes allegations of racial discrimination and evidence mishandling seriously and has zero tolerance for such behavior by its members. OSP investigates all allegations of misconduct and takes appropriate steps to address any behavior falling outside its policies, rules, procedures, or law. The lawsuit comes at a time when vehicle searchers have come under greater scrutiny. The Oregon Supreme Court made it harder for police to search vehicles without a warrant, and the state legislature just passed a bill that would prevent officers from pulling drivers over for a minor infraction and require officers to inform drivers they have the right to refuse a search during a traffic stop. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.
The Washington County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help to catch an arsonist that blew up a car this morning at Fred Meyer. Just take a look at your screen right here. The suspect is seen holding something close to the vehicle's gas tank, and then you can see right there a large explosion and the vehicle catching fire. The suspect then begins to walk away, but their sleeve or glove is on fire. They take it off and keep walking. This all happened in the Freddy's parking lot near the Beaverton Hillsdale Highway. The vehicle's owner says they let someone borrow the car, and then this happened.
It was the nicest car I ever owned, and I was real proud of it. You know, I before that car, I just pretty much drove clunkers, you know, and I was able to buy the car. It only had 12,000 miles on it. It was 3 years old when I bought it, and yeah, it was the nicest car I ever owned.
Police are looking for anyone who may have seen the suspect walking around or knows anything about this. If you can help, contact the Washington County Sheriff's Office.